So there's a dude I'm friends with, or I shouldn't say friends, we're more like acquainted. His name is Carlos, Colorsponge on Instagram, and he makes amazing art involving vehicles. Like, he is super good at rendering vehicles. And I got to know him through Ashthorpe. They've been doing some collaborations together, looking really good, really nice texture work. And anyway, he shared a post the other day where he was showing what he was doing to make these cars, these renders. So, I thought I wanted to do that, and I thought it got a really cool result, and so I thought, why not, pass it along here on Patreon. So what I will do, I will start with this scene, and if you follow me on like social media, you've seen this already. This is an old scene that I made from a Mini Cooper, or should I say with a Mini Cooper, and you can buy this model if you go to Andreas Azelius on Gumroad, this guy. You can find his models. He has amazingly good models. Like, if you look at this one, you can see here on his images, amazing texture work, amazing shading, and this is just awesome. You can buy these. Now, the problem is that he is doing these in, I think, Maya. So if you want to do this in F-Storm in 3ds Max, you will have to recreate all the shaders from scratch, which I had to do on my car here. So you can use his textures if you want to. I actually didn't bother much. I used his textures for like, the lights and stuff, but all the other I just replaced with my own. First of all, I realized I'm actually missing some textures. I have to fix that. Just gonna relink those. All right, so I found 2 of them. I think this one is not actually very important. So now, if I start zooming in here, as I was saying, the textures for the lights, the bump maps here I did reuse, but all the others I believe are my own. So I had to recreate more or less everything. But that is not bad, because I also, made some nice dirt stuff here, which is looking really cool. So I realized that I actually didn't make any videos of this, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, if I didn't, or if I did, I'll just show you the lighting setup real quick. So this light here, which is kind of the most important one, and that is the, oops, okay, let's do like this, and I will lock that one. So this one is kind of the most important one, because if I turn that off, you can see the background becomes dull. This is really important when doing like studio shots. You want to light the background. So that's it. So then we have this light, which illuminates the front of the car like this. Pretty important. So we can hide that too. Then we have this light that I believe is just illuminating the tire here. So you can see I have an include exclude on that one. That is only on the tires to get that little highlight there. In my lights, I have a softbox HDRI, which I've talked about in previous videos, which looks like this. So this is just a softbox HDRI light that I found on the internet, which is sadly not available anymore, but you can get similar lights from elsewhere. And then we have this lights, which is a rim light, or literally it's lighting on the rim. No, it's just a tire sidewall, sorry. And then we have this light, which is also a tire sidewall. So if I hide or unhide, you can see how that just affects the tire like that. The same thing, I think, goes for this one, but for the back tire. So that's important. And then this one, which is the reflections of the glass. And then this one, who creates a reflection on like the side here. And some nice lighting. Then we have the last one, which is this one, who just casts some general light to... Oh, okay, that wasn't it, sorry. So that's just for illuminating the back of the car, right? And the last one must be this one then, which is just a hard light to illuminate the car, like this. So there are quite a few lights in this scene. So there are no rules when it comes to lighting a car. I know that, when I started trying to light cars from the very beginning. I was like going into Google and I was trying to search for images on Google, like how do they do studio lighting for cars? And there are so many ways to do it. So, I mean, there are no rules. Just do whatever you think is fun and looks good. So anyway, let's get into the real thing. So just like in Colorsponge's post, you can find this one, Pingo on Gumroad, and he has HDRI or HDR caustics. So this is what he used to light that car, and it's actually not supposed to be used for lighting cars. It's more supposed to be used to fake caustics from, you know, different light sources like this, like that, for example. So you can play with that if you want to. But anyway, buy this pack, and you will receive a PDF that shows you all the versions that you have included. And the ones I used in this is CO18, 19, and I think 22. So these are looking really cool. You can play around with those. First of all, in your scene, make sure you want to have real-time geometry update enabled. And let's create a light. F-Storm light. Make it targeted, because you will have use for that. Alright, so here we have our light. I can increase the strength of it, and you can play with the directional, but it doesn't matter. We'll have to change that anyway later. So let's start with this one. So C18, just drag and drop it here. And as usual, since I have dropped this light plugin, I don't have to convert it to F-Storm bitmap. It does that automatically. Connect this into a color correction and use that as a texture in your light. Use as texture. And now, not much happens. I mean, it did, but you can't see much. And if I increase the power of this, you can see that you get some fancy lights. But this is not the result we want, is it? Because this is not actually projecting our light. So this is just sending out colored light. It doesn't work as intended. But the problem here is that in the F-Storm bitmap, it is not the correct mapping. What we have to use is perspective environment, not projection, because projection is made for projecting decals. So even though these are really easy to mix up, because you would think that projection, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to use my light as a projector. So then I would want to use projection, but that's not it. Perspective environment is the thing. So now we click that and voila. Another thing you want to do probably is to change the border to clamp. Otherwise it will just repeat itself. And now with that, we can change the tiling if we want to. So we can change like how widespread this effect will be. You can see if we do it like 5, then we get like really concentrated light. You see here, if I change the border back to tile, you can see how they are like repeating themselves. So now you can start to see pattern, which I don't want to have. I want to have them like really focused. So use a clamp. Now we got it just too intense. So we can change that. And now let's play around with the position of this. Now here comes the tricky part. You'll just simply have to try to figure this out. Let's try another one. Oh, I got an IFL, sorry. When you're picking an HDR here, make sure to uncheck sequence, otherwise you'll get an IFL file. You don't want that. Now one thing you should notice is that the effect you get here depends on the size of your light. So if I make this like 100 by 100, well, first of all, it'll get like super bright, but also you get like super diffuse effect. I mean, this is looking pretty cool, but it's not the effect that I want. So if I make it like 3 by 3 instead, actually doesn't matter because it's circular. I have to increase the strength a lot, but now you can see you get these like really cool sharp lighting effects. So that is really important depending on what kind of effect you want. Let's place this here, and the reason why I wanted to have this in a color correction is because now I can use the filter to color this light. So let's make this like pink or so. And now it's just all about trying to find a good placement for this. Now this is, I mean, as I said, there are no rules. You just have to try to figure out what looks cool. So first of all, I might want to move this away quite far, and I might want to, you know, increase the size of it to add just some overall effects that kind of lights the whole scene generally. And maybe I want to actually start with like lighting the background. See, since this isn't like a projected map, it's so, I mean, I have no idea where the light will fall in my scene. So I'll just have to move this around and see what kind of effects I actually get. So that's looking pretty cool. I want to make this bigger. Whoops, not 1,000. So yeah, maybe like that. That looks pretty cool. Let's make a copy of this one now. Now I can take a copy of the material and I can use that one instead. I want to make this blue or turquoise. This one, however, I do want to have really narrow. And again, just play around until you find something that looks cool. One thing that is really powerful is to light, you know, let the light fall on the rims like that. Let's make a copy of this again. See if we can find some cool lighting that hits the front of the car. You can also rotate the light to change the effect. Though I actually liked it what it was before. Also try to make sure to not put your targets like inside the car like this, because it gets really tough to grab it again when you need it. So make sure they're like easily accessible. So this I think looks pretty cool to have it lit there. And this is the problem. You have to give this a lot of time, because when you start adding other lights, you might realize that okay, that light didn't work there because they're like, fighting against each other. So this is a bit tricky. You just have to let it take some time and play with it. But that's the fun part, I think, to just play around with this. So let's make a copy of this one and try another HDRI. So let's try the 22, because I kind of like that one. So let's add that into this light, see what we get. Oh, look at that. That is a happy accident. I did not expect that, but that looks really, really good. Oh, okay. I think I actually applied it to the wrong one. But this looks pretty fucking cool. I'm gonna roll with this. Totally. Alright, so this one is using the same, isn't it? Let's make this pink. Also remember that you can play around with the tiling. Okay, so I didn't actually want to use that HDR, I think. Let's try another one. This looks pretty cool. I think we're onto something. Now what we are doing in difference from Colorsponge is that we're kind of focusing on just lighting the car while he was like lighting the whole scene. So I mean, we could try to continue like working with that. So if I would, let's say we would copy this light, for example, move it far away. Now the tricky part here, like the most, the trickiest part here is to try to keep track of what lights belong to where, because I'm getting so many lights here, which, this is a bit different approach to Carlos, because he used not very many lights, while I just keep adding them. Oh yeah, that's why the light didn't work. I actually had a box around it. I can move this like very far away. You can move this around and play with. Just made a new copy of the material once again. And play with the tiling. So like 0.6 to get a like a more widespread effect. Oh, look at that. Yeah, now we're talking. All right. That looks cool. So now let me take a copy of this light here again, and I want to make another copy of these. And here, let me use this without a filter this time. Just see, that's 18. Maybe like we could use 21 or so, but yeah. No, this is cool. So now I have without filters, and you can see we get some just normal white light. But the cool thing is you still get these like color casting or whatever. That's probably not the light that I want. So let's try to look for, which was it? It was 18. Let's try 21. 21. And maybe change the tiling so we get like a larger effect of it. And we could move it further away. We could rotate it. Seriously? Oh. I'm not grabbing the target. Yeah, that's what I was saying. You want to make sure that your targets are visible, not inside the car. A bit too strong, maybe. So that is looking pretty cool. Now, I'm not extremely happy with the results I'm getting here, but you kind of get the point. So, I mean, as I said, there's no right or wrong way to do this. So just play around, do it your way. And because, I mean, if you do this twice, you will get two completely different results. And if you don't like it, if you like feel that, okay, I'm on the wrong track, I don't get the results that I want, well, then just delete all the lights and start over. One thing you could do, probably, to make it a little bit easier for you, is to color the lights like this. So you know that, okay, so for example, this one is a pink light. So I'll just make this pink. That way I know that this is a pink light. And this is a white light, so I made this white or gray. Can make it white, actually. Makes it a little bit easier to keep track of, at least. This looks cool, I think. Let's try if we increase the size of that and reduce the strength. Yeah, this is looking pretty cool. Only thing I'm missing now, I kind of like this part of the car, but back here is way too dark. I like this here, but we need some rim light there. So we can try to just use the same as we have here, because this is a white light and I kind of like that. Colorsponge did not use any white lights, but I like it and I want to do this my way. This is not me trying to copy what he did. This is me trying to use the same technique, to make something in my own style. Now this is a tricky one. There, we're getting close. This is so tricky, you know, because of the mapping. I have no idea where the light actually is or hits the car. But I think we're actually getting there. Well, I like this. Now we get some lighting on the top of the backlight there so you can actually see it, and you get some nice rim here, but you're not destroying this light here too much. So I think this is looking pretty cool. I'm quite happy with it, actually. We could try to do some extra effects by adding atmosphere to this whole shot. Yes, look at this. This is cool. Yeah, let's see this one. That was the... Yep, that was that one. Let's increase that. I kind of like it. Let's just select my camera. If I can find it. Come on. I think this is cool. Now, because I have both dispersion in the glass and I have atmosphere. I mean, if I don't use atmosphere, no, I fucked it up. It goes quite quick to render, but if I use it, I kind of slow it down a lot. But I think it's worth it. Also, one thing you can do is to go into kernel settings and change the glossy preserve. So that way you kind of kill the glossy that creates a lot of fireflies. But you may also actually kill a lot of, you know, nice reflections, so you have to, you know, be careful with it. Also, one thing I do want to change is the floor, because I kind of want to have this more reflective. Like that, to add another extra touch. Getting some really nice God ray effect here. I think I actually want to increase that light. Was that this light? No. That was... Yeah, that was this light. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Just want to increase that a little bit. Like so. Looking pretty cool. Let's play with the saturation a little bit, and then we can also play with the white balance if we want to. Now we're getting a completely different image. Kind of like this. Also, one thing I'm realizing is that this light out here, oh, it's super small already. So I think this is kind of ruining a little bit, you know, the fog effect, because it kind of kills the sharpness of the lights because it's scattering the light a little bit. So I don't know if we can make this even smaller. Now we're kind of ruining it. So this is the problem with being creative. You never get settled, or you never get pleased, at least. Because I have a few problems here. First of all, this material here is a bit dull. So I want to pick that. So that's some black plastic. And I want to just make that a little bit shinier. So there we're getting some nice reflections in it. Also the floor material, I think it's too dark. Let's brighten it up a little bit. Oh, okay. Yes, okay. So this one, we need to lower again now. Also, maybe we could actually make it a little stronger, or make it a little smaller. Okay, that did not go as I wanted to. Let's undo whatever I did. I think I'm happy with this. The reason, there's a risk that it actually looked better before, and now when I started to change things, I actually ruined it. That happens quite a lot. And this one, for example, I want to make that a little bit more like deeper blue, because I think the blue effect here is a little bit too weak. So I want to make it stronger blue, and I want to increase the strength of that light. Alright, I think I'm happy with this. Don't forget to save. Alright, looking cool. And now what I do probably want to have, or would want to have, is some kind of rim light up here on the ceiling to get the ceiling to separate from the background. Maybe I'll add that. But anyway, this was the fundamentals of it. Now go do your own cool shit with it. Thank you so much for watching, and see you around.